Day 90, Conquest and Judges, Judges 4 through 5, Ruth 2, Psalm 133. Let's begin. Judges 4:5. But after the death of Ehud, the sons of Israel resumed doing evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hands of Jabin, the king of Canaan, who reigned at Hazor. And he had a commander of his army named Sisera, but this man lived at Harosheth of the Gentiles. And the sons of Israel cried out to the Lord. For he had 900 chariots with sides, and he vehemently oppressed them for 20 years. Now there was a prophetess, Deborah, the wife of Lapidoth, who judged the people in that time. And she was sitting under a palm tree, which was called by her name, between Ramah and Bethel, on Mount Ephraim. And the sons of Israel went up to her for every judgment. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, from Kadesh of Naphtali. And she said to him, The Lord, the God of Israel, instructs you, Go and lead an army to Mount Tabor, and you shall take with you 10,000 fighting men from the sons of Naphtali and from the sons of Zebulun. Then I will lead to you, at the place of the torrent Kishon, Sisera, the leader of the army of Jabin, with his chariots, and the entire multitude. And I will deliver them into your hand. And Barak said to her, If you will come with me, I will go. If you are not willing to come with me, I will not go. She said to him, Indeed, I will go with you. But due to this change, the victory shall not be reputed to you. And so Sisera will be delivered into the hand of a woman. Therefore, Deborah rose up, and she traveled with Barak to Kadesh. And he, summoning Zebulun and Naphtali, ascended with 10,000 fighting men, having Deborah in his company. Now Heber, the Kenite, had previously withdrawn from the rest of the Kenite, his brothers, the sons of Hobab, the relative of Moses. And he had pitched his tents as far as the valley that is called Zananim, which was near Kadesh. And it was reported to Sisera that Barak, the son of Abinoam, had ascended to Mount Tabor. And he gathered together the 900 chariots with sides, and the entire army, from Harosheth of the Gentiles to the torrent Kishon. And Deborah said to Barak, Rise up. For this is the day on which the Lord delivers Sisera into your hands. For he is your commander. And so Barak descended from Mount Tabor, and the 10,000 fighting men with him. And the Lord struck Sisera with great fear, and all his chariots, and all his multitude with the edge of the sword, in the sight of Barak, so much so that Sisera, leaping from his chariot, fled on foot. And Barak pursued the fleeing chariots, and the army, as far as Harosheth of the Gentiles. And the entire multitude of the enemy was cut down, unto utter annihilation. But Sisera, while fleeing, arrived at the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber, the Kenite. For there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Heber, the Kenite. Therefore Jael went out to meet Sisera, and she said to him, Enter to me, my lord. Enter, you should not be afraid. And he entered her tent, and having been covered by her with a cloak, he said to her, Give me, I beg you, a little water. For I am very thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk, and she gave him to drink. And she covered him. And Sisera said to her, Stand before the door of the tent. And if anyone arrives questioning you and saying, Could there be any man here? You shall respond, There is no one. And so Jael, the wife of Heber, took a spike from the tent, and also took a mallet. And entering unseen and with silence, she placed the spike over the temple of his head. And striking it with the mallet, she drove it through his brain, as far as the ground. And so, joining deep sleep to death, he fell unconscious and died. And behold, Barak arrived, in pursuit of Sisera. And Jael, going out to meet him, said to him, Come, and I will show you the man whom you are seeking. And when he had entered her tent, he saw Sisera lying dead, with the spike fixed in his temples. Thus did God humble Jabin, the king of Canaan, on that day, before the sons of Israel. And they increased every day. And with a strong hand they overpowered Jabin, the king of Canaan, until they wiped him out. In that day, Deborah and Barak, the son of Abinoam, sang out, saying, All you of Israel who have willingly offered your lives to danger, bless the Lord. Listen, O kings! Pay attention, O princes! It is I, who will sing to the Lord. I will sing a psalm to the Lord, the God of Israel. O Lord, when you departed from Seir, and you crossed through the regions of Edom, the earth and the heavens were moved, and the clouds rained down water. The mountains flowed away before the face of the Lord, and Sinai, before the face of the Lord God of Israel. In the days of Shamgar, the son of Anath, in the days of Jael, the paths were quiet. And whoever entered by them, walked along rough byways. The strong men ceased, and they rested in Israel, until Deborah rose up, until a mother rose up in Israel. The Lord chose new wars, and he himself overturned the gates of the enemies. A shield with a spear was not seen among the 40,000 of Israel. My heart loves the leaders of Israel. All you who, of your own free will, offered yourselves during a crisis, bless the Lord. You who ride upon donkeys laboring, and you who sit in judgment, and you who walk along the way, speak out. Where the chariots were struck together, and the army of the enemies was choked, in that place, let the justices of the Lord be described, and let his clemency be for the brave of Israel. Then did the people of the Lord descend to the gates, and obtain leadership. Rise up, O Deborah! Rise up, and speak a canticle. Rise up, Barak, and seize your captives, O son of Abinoam. The remnants of the people were saved. The Lord contended with the strong. Out of Ephraim, he destroyed those with Amalek, and after him, out of Benjamin, those of your people, O Amalek. From Machir, there descended leaders, and from Zebulun, those who led the army to war. The commanders of Issachar were with Deborah, and they followed the steps of Barak, who endangered himself, like one rushing headlong into a chasm. Reuben was divided against himself. Contention was found among great souls. Why do you live between two borders, so that you hear the bleating of the flocks? Reuben was divided against himself. Contention was found among great souls. Gilead rested beyond the Jordan, and Dan was occupied with ships. Asher was living on the shore of the sea, and dwelling in the ports. Yet truly, Zebulun and Naphtali offered their lives to death in the region of Merom. The kings came and fought. The kings of Canaan fought at Tanakh, beside the waters of Megiddo. And yet they took no spoils. The conflict against them was from heaven. The stars, remaining in their order and courses, fought against Sisera. The torrent of Kishon dragged away their carcasses, the onrushing torrent, the torrent of Kishon. O my soul, tread upon the stalwart. The hoofs of the horses were broken, while the strongest of the enemies fled away with fury, and rushed on to ruin. Cursed be the land of Meroz, said the angel of the Lord. Cursed be its inhabitants. For they did not come to the aid of the Lord, to the assistance of his most valiant men. Blessed among women is Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. And blessed is she in her tabernacle. He begged her for water, and she gave him milk, and she offered him butter in a dish fit for princes. She put her left hand to the nail, and her right hand to the workman's mallet. And she struck Sisera, seeking in his head a place for the wound, and strongly piercing his temples. Between her feet, he was ruined. He fainted away and passed on. He curled up before her feet, and he lay there lifeless and miserable. His mother gazed through a window and wailed. And she spoke from an upper room, "Why does his chariot delay in returning? Why are the feet of his team of horses so slow?" One who was wiser than the rest of his wives responded to her mother-in-law with this. Perhaps he is now dividing the spoils, and the most beautiful among the women is being selected for him. Garments of diverse colors are being delivered to Sisera as spoils, and various goods are being collected for the adornment of necks. O Lord, so may all your enemies perish. But may those who love you shine with splendor, as the sun shines at its rising. And the land rested for 40 years. Ruth 2. But there was a man related to Elimelech, a powerful man, and very wealthy, named Boaz. And so she went and gathered the ears of grain after the completion of the reaping. But it happened that this field was owned by Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech. And behold, he came out of Bethlehem and said to the reapers, "The Lord be with you." They answered him, "May the Lord bless you." And Boaz said to the young man who was in charge of the reapers, "Whose young woman is this?" He answered him, "This is the Moabite woman, who came with Naomi, from the land of the Moabites. And she asked to gather the remnants of the ears of grain, following the steps of the reapers, and from morning until now she has remained in the field, and, indeed, not for one moment has she returned home." And Boaz said to Ruth, "Listen to me, daughter. Do not go to gather in any other field, nor depart from this place, but join with my young women, and follow where they reap. For I have given orders to my young men, so that no one is to harass you. And so, whenever you are thirsty, go to the vessels, and drink from the waters that the young men also drink." She, falling on her face and paying homage on the ground, said to him, "How did this happen to me, that I should find favor before your eyes, and that you would condescend to accept me, a foreign woman?" He answered her, "Everything has been reported to me, what things you have done for your mother-in-law after the death of your husband, and how you left your parents, and the land in which you were born, and came to a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for your work, and may you receive a full reward from the Lord, the God of Israel, to whom you have come, and under whose wings you have taken refuge." She said, "I have found favor before your eyes, my lord, who has consoled me, and you have spoken to the heart of your handmaid, who is unlike one of your young women." And Boaz said to her, "When mealtime begins, come here, and eat bread, and dip your morsel in the vinegar." And so she sat beside the reapers, and she piled up parched grain for herself, and she ate and was satisfied, and carried off the leftovers. And then she arose from there, so as to gather the ears of grain, according to the custom. But Boaz commanded his servants, saying, "If she is even willing to reap with you, do not prevent her. And purposely let fall some from your bundles, and allow them to remain, so that she may gather without blushing, and let no one rebuke her gathering." And so she gathered in the field until evening. And striking and threshing with a staff what she had gathered, she found about the measure of an ephah of barley, that is, 3 measures. Carrying this, she returned into the city and showed it to her mother-in-law. Moreover, she offered it to her, and even gave her the leftovers of her food, with which she had been satisfied. And her mother-in-law said to her, "Where have you gathered today, and where have you found work? Blessed is he who took pity on you." And she informed her with whom she had been working, and she said the man's name, that he was called Boaz. Naomi answered her, "May he be blessed by the Lord, because the same kindness which he provided for the living, he also kept for the dead." And again she said, "This man is our near relative." And Ruth said, "He charged me with this also, that from now on I should join with his reapers until all the crop has been reaped." And her mother-in-law said to her, "It is better, my daughter, to go out reaping with his young women, lest in a stranger's field someone may confront you." And so, she joined with the young women of Boaz, and from then on reaped with them, until the barley and the wheat were stored in the barns. Psalm 133. A Canticle in Steps. Behold, bless the Lord now, all you servants of the Lord, who stand in the house of the Lord, in the courts of the house of our God. In the nights, lift up your hands in sanctity, and bless the Lord. May the Lord, who made heaven and earth, bless you from Zion.